I am often spectacularly wrong. I don't think, however, that the universe has laughed at me more about something being wrong than not that many years ago, me rooting for the anarchy of Donald Trump in those debates, making a giant mess of things, not thinking that there would be any chance in holy hell that he would actually emerge from any of that to become president of the United States. And over the weekend, he is saying on Truth Social, and I haven't read much about this, but I think it was a strategic mistake by him to give up his Twitter following in order to start his own.
Well, now it's available to him again. He started it because he was banned.
Uh-huh.
Elon Musk has allowed him back on
but
Twitter.
But he hasn't been using it, correct? Because he's using his own thing, and he weaponized Twitter better than any politician ever.
He dictated the news every day.
And
he started the news cycle with his tweets, and I believe because he owns part of Truth Social, that he is contractually obligated to use Truth Social and not Twitter for a certain period of time. I don't know when that period of time ends, but he's still there just because he has to be.
And he says on Truth Social that he expects to be arrested tomorrow, Stugotz. And I really don't know, given what his base is, if this will be good for him. Weirdly, like the Chris Cody argument that Zion Williamson's sneaker exploding was good for Nike because any pub is good pub. I'm not actually sure that being arrested, things are so distorted. I've gotten everything wrong here, underestimated so many things so incorrectly here that I really can't answer in this disorienting of an America whether him strategically deciding to take a perp walk so that he can be seen by his people in a way that would make them angry, protest, rioting, the rare white riot. You don't get many of those. White people riot during celebrations. You get January 6th. You do not get this. And I don't know what's going to happen when he does get arrested, but I'm not totally sure as we sit here that it's going to be bad for his cause, because he has said himself, I could kill somebody in the street and my people would still stay at my side. So is getting arrested, if you're dealing with so much misinformation, if you're dealing with such an alternate set of facts that your people are living in a different reality than the people who oppose you, in the kind of division, Stugotz, politically, that makes no sense to me, having lived half a century on this earth, what I am watching now in the extremes is so confusing to me that this can be supported, that a criminal liar who is corrupt at his core in every way can be seen as the everyman who is being wronged and a victim. It's baffling to me that if he does get arrested, I'm not totally positive. If we have the surreal scene of a former president of the United States being arrested, that I can't argue here with conviction that that's bad for him and his cause as he gets back into the news stream, and the polling numbers suggest that he's a more viable option than DeSantis.
His base believes anything he says. So at this point, tomorrow's a good day for Donald Trump in the eyes of his base, because it lends to what he's been saying all along. This is a witch hunt. They'll find anything to get me. They don't do this with other presidents. They want me, and listen, he's not really fighting it too hardly. Like, he almost wants to get arrested. Like, he's going to walk out, here are my hands, put the cuffs on, and let the world see it.
I'm not sure they're going to be cuffs. I'm not sure there's going to be an actual perp walk. But strategically, I'm wondering whether his people would advise him to have a public video, a public showing of him, quote unquote, being wronged by a system. The idea that anybody would believe. Like, do you know how little faith you have to have in our systems to think our systems are more corrupt than he is? You're not looking at the same things I'm looking at. And I don't have a lot of faith in American systems right now. If you somehow think that human being is being wronged, you're just getting a different reality, a different set of facts, a different information. If somehow, not only, Stugotz, have we arrived in a place where we can plausibly make the argument that a former president being arrested might not actually be bad for him, but I also think in politics, we might have a situation where each of the sides is rooting for the other to die, to physically actually die, for Biden to die and for Trump to die, so that you can win.
Well, I do think from that perspective, I think Joe Biden might want Donald Trump to win the nomination. I think politically, he might fear DeSantis more because it's all of the Trump stuff, but none of the crazy. And I think a lot of people will view DeSantis as not crazy. So politically, Joe Biden might want Donald Trump to win.
Already beat him.
Right, he already beat him.
Right.
And it's like, all right, I just got to go beat him. And he's weaker than before. He's not on Twitter anymore. And like he's a political combatant with Ron DeSantis.
You know how absurd it is, though, the idea that we would talk, like how many things have changed and how weird it is to see them change, that we're talking in general about a former president being arrested, and that we wonder, like, look, you may disagree with it. You may think it's asinine to wonder whether or not this is good or bad for him, but the fact that it's not like echoing eternally damaging for him just tells you how contaminated the information system is in this country in a way that I never thought it would be, that some people are getting their news from news sources that would paint Donald Trump as a victim who is somehow purer than the people who have spent this amount of time investigating him, that you would think that he would be the more honest version in the clash between American legal ramifications and Donald Trump. It's just a crazy thing to witness. It's not something that I believe anybody could have predicted in any sort of futuristic scenario using the data points that we've had throughout the history of American politics.
Well, it's the logical endpoint of politics being sports, because that's what it has been for the last few years. And basically, the ideology is whatever allows us to win. You don't have to accept facts from anybody else because, you know, media sources, the court system, there's just enough of a grain of a lack of credibility to not have to accept what they're saying if it goes against you. And I think the ultimate thing that proves your point is what's going on with the Dominion story and Tucker Carlson, because there is an overwhelming burden of proof that not only did Fox News personalities know that they were spewing nonsense, but that internally they were saying amongst themselves, God, what we're saying is complete bullshit. And like they acknowledge that they feed their viewers nonsense, things that are not true, because it's good for business and because we have to make sure that Newsmax and OAN and the other news sources are not going to take our stuff. And so we're just going to purposely spew propaganda that's wrong, that might legally expose our company, because it's better than just acknowledging the truth that Donald Trump lost.
Stugotz,
it's better for business.
I could be naive about any number of things. I just can't believe that anyone in our audience or anyone consuming media could have foreseen the set of events that might get him arrested in the next couple of days, and that there would be a substantive faction, not the 20% that you can agree with, you can get to agree with anything, a substantive faction of people who somehow believe in some sort of purity with this man, that would frame him as a victim and look at everything from the media to the justice system as being more corrupt than he is, when you have an avalanche of evidence that this man is at his core someone without a moral fiber. At his core, that all it is about is winning, a professional grifter.
But 6 years ago, I agree, just about everyone would be shocked. But we're past that point, right? You're not going to be surprised now if tomorrow ends up being a good day for him and his base.
No, Stugotz, I'm still surprised that we've arrived here. And forgive me for being
we've been here for quite some time now.
But I
still can't believe it.
I can't believe this is the America that I live in.
It's crazy.
I'm like, you can say, well, this is where we are now. You shouldn't be surprised by that. I don't want to be numb to this.
Right.
Like, I don't, when the history that you're talking about makes it so that now patriot is a bad word to me. Woke gets stolen and just becomes a ridiculous platform that doesn't have anything else on it. It's just a word to drape around. I don't like others, and I'm going to run that as a platform. Anybody who doesn't look like a white person, I'm against them. That's not the America that I thought I was living in, and I sound like an idiot still being surprised by it, but how the fuck did we arrive in a place where a former United States president getting arrested is just like 75th on his list of scandals? I mean, he's just totally diluted. He's created a bunch of offspring, a contaminated, corrupt offspring that now you got a bunch of people who are just shameless about facts don't matter, just sell people an assortment of lies that they want to hear.
Dan, there's a lot of investigations pending. Like, which one is he actually being arrested for? Because I don't really know. Do we know what it is?
Stormy Daniels.
Oh, okay, that one. I didn't know.
It can be any number of them.
That's why I was confused.
That's the thing, though. It's like it's 75th on the list. I mean, this is not the big one. Is the one in Georgia, right? Oh. It's the one with what happened with the election.
What's a big one? He's got a million.
What about the taxes one?
The taxes one. Yeah.
But this seems like the small story of all the stories that are out there. It's like getting Capone on like accounting, like tax evasion.
I thought this was the taxes one up until you guys just
Trump
said
University?
Stormy Daniels. I thought this was taxes.
He's flooded the stream with scandal in a way that makes people numb to scandal. Totally. Santos is not allowed to exist at any time before now. Just lying about everything and staying in power. Nothing about the person is true. And yeah, I'm just going to stay in office.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the part that's different. But at the very least, our shame politics work enough to where he's sort of completely powerless and he'll be voted out in a year and a half. But the fact that he can persist and still be there, it's astounding. How is he still there? Why does he want to still be there?
Can't get him out.
As Jets and Dolphins fans, Stugotz and I have hated the word patriot for a long time.
I waved them off like 8 minutes ago on that.